say. And as you can see behind me, I'm pretty sure you can tell what we're doing tonight. We are actually going to be working very hard to bring individuals up to date on what's going on in our area. It's pretty amazing, in my opinion, when the city of churches, Danville, Virginia, ends up being a place where we actually are starting already to see casinos or mock-ups of casino. Let me do a little work right here, and we'll have you get a chance to look at the mock-up. And this is the projected casino that is being really pressed in the media. This is a picture from WSLS.com, and what I want to key in on immediately is the fact that this is immediately not looking good. So when you start thinking about what's in the projections here, this is not really looking good. Now you might say, well, Johnny, this does look good. Look how beautiful that is. If you're watching me, this is what does the Bible say. And we are, in fact, trying to bring you up to date in regard to what is going on around you. And it's extremely important that individuals realize that they are possibly, I don't know, you might wonder what in the world is going on. If you start looking at the news, you continue to watch the news in days to come, you're going to end up seeing some pretty amazing information that is coming out of the news, WSLS, different places, newspaper. This is actually, I'm in a slideshow presentation, and I don't want to do that. So this is what you will be seeing on our broadcast coming up quite a lot in the next little while. And so I want to make sure you get in, that you do realize you're on the right broadcast station. This is What Does the Bible Say? And we are doing a special segment where we bring you up to date. And that actually says Caesars. I don't know if you can see that or not, and that's a mock-up. And this is what WSLS actually says. Creation of 1,300 jobs with benefits and average wages between $35,000 and $47,000 a year. Now, folks, that is a pretty amazing projection. I am really here to tell you, and I have to tell you that it's just not true. So what I want to do is I would like to go to WSLS, and let's just see if this will play. Sometimes when I move from one place to the next. Now that's the picture that you really want to get a hold to. Those smokestacks back there, this is the old mill, Dan River Mill, and you just have to kind of get it in your mind because, you know, folks, once a thing gets repositioned, persons like me who are not from Danville, it would be hard for me to actually remember where things were, but I mean, factually, my dentist's office is right across the street. And so I have a very good visual from that perspective. I've been going to this dentist since I don't know, 2005, something like that. And so this is right in front of him, or right catty corner, whatever. And unless somebody corrects me, I think this is going to end up taking in Ballou Park. And you might say, dude, Johnny, you just don't have your information or whatever. Well, it is true. I just can't bring up all of Danville in my head. But I do know where those smokestacks are, and I know that WSLS This is off of their website, so they're giving you a projection that was sent to them. Caesars Entertainment, that's a casino, and there's your projection from WSLS. That's what's being put out there, I suppose. I mean, I really don't even know who is doing the advertisement for this, but I do know that this is untrue. Creation of 1,300 jobs with benefits, average wages between $35,000 and $47,000. Now, the ad actually reads Caesars Entertainment, and if you can see there to the side, let me get down in front of this because a lot of this tonight is going to be full screen. That is a picture, I guess it's a logo, reimagine that, and this is like revitalization. This goes on in a lot of different cities. I'm looking at a TV over there if you're wondering what I'm looking at. This revitalization goes on a lot. The river runs right beside all of this in the logo over here, and so this is an ad that is put up by Caesars Entertainment, and it put up by Danville, I suppose, City of Danville. I'm not exactly sure, and so that's the that website is actually for WSLS and that particular commercial. Now, here's something that I really want you to see right away. These are events. Now, I'm actually working off of one of the many pieces of information that the Commonwealth of Virginia has put up, and this one is JLARC, Gaming in the Commonwealth, and it's put together by a group called the Innovation Group, and what their job is their job is actually to give out information all over the United States, whatever, maybe even international. But they are a group that is trying to get individuals to do casinos and more. They're wanting all kinds of gaming. They're wanting sports betting. They're just involved with online gambling, casino gambling, sports wagering, and online casino gambling. So gaming, that's why I'm having trouble with that word. I'm reading gaming and my brain is trying to say gambling. So they're calling it gaming. So if you catch on to that tonight, this is a 7-page document, and it's like an introductory, possibly. And I've gone through it, and it's just amazing the contradictions that are involved. And so one contradiction right here, it says that generating nearly $700 million in revenue for various purposes. Now, it's saying Virginians currently wager about $3 billion. Can you believe that people are actually wagering $3 billion in Virginia already? Either through horse racing or the lottery. They call charitable gambling or gaming. I suppose that's when somebody raffles something off. You didn't know that was considered to be gambling. I have no idea the different kinds of gambling that is already in place, but I know that they're saying that these forms of gaming generate nearly $700 million in revenue. Now, they're saying it goes primarily to K through 12 education. And I just really doubt that. I doubt that in the very beginning. And then when I started looking at this, I dropped down here to where the red line is, if you can see that red line, and it says, not all casino jobs would represent a net gain of employment for the localities, and nearly half of the jobs would be low skill and low wages. Now, that's really something, because that actually comes from this report. It is a report that is put out by the Innovation Group that is something that the Commonwealth of Virginia wants you to read. They put it out there as their legislative report. The L stands for legislative and judicial legislative, and so it has to do with them trying to give you information about what the Commonwealth has actually currently done, and this was done in 2019. This was published, I think, in November, and so Most of the projections were made throughout the year in 2019, and they finally put out their initial report. We heard all about this in 2019. It was a big deal. Caleb did shows on it. Other individuals that we know across Virginia did some either radio broadcast or YouTube videos of that, things of that nature, up in the Bristol area, because that's one of the areas. They're talking about putting in 4 or 5 different locations: Bristol, Danville, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Richmond. And so this is a review, and it's on the ballot for November. So if you see that right there, how can you reconcile these two statements from WSLS? Average wages between $35,000 and $47,000. And then you turn around and you actually have them state in this document, you have them state that nearly half of the jobs would be low skill, low wage. Still, many casino jobs will require higher skills, levels, and pay higher wages. Now, we're going to get into this. We're going to give you the stats from their own documents. Now, in this report, if you were to go to JLARC, I should have put that up, JLARC, we'll just call it that, JLARC, that's what it is, .com. If you were to go there, there are 7 different PDFs that you would end up looking at. Actually, one of them is a PowerPoint slide presentation, and there's a lot of information. Now, I don't really expect everybody, JLARC. Now, I might do some work here in a minute and put that up there just so you can actually see it. I really don't expect a lot of you are going to take the time. This is like news. It's like the media today. You have to sift through stuff to try to find out what's going on, and it's very difficult. And we're going to do this for you, but we want you to be able to be in a position where you can have a look at it and actually realize whether or not we're telling you the truth. Now, let me scroll over here to some of our information that's online, and we'll let you actually participate a little bit. Let's see. I want you to get off of that one. Let's go right here. This is the way that they look on, when you go on there, JLARCvirginia.gov is where you can find this one. It's still the same thing, JLARC.com, or you just simply go to JLARC.virginia.gov, and you notice here there are different numbers for this PDF. Let me just make this a little bit bigger for you for a moment. And the PDF, the address has report 527.5. It's a PDF. This one actually says report 527. So number 2 PDF. So you can actually see 5 PDF, number 2 PDF. So you're actually seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different PDFs. That's a lot of information for you to deal with, and we're basically saying to you the information we're going to help you with. Hopefully you'll be able to recognize that we are telling you the truth. And so this is a page on one of the PDFs. Let's see which one I'm on. I'm actually on report 527 presentation 2. It says the projected median wage of $33,000 for casinos employees would be below the median wage in the 5 SB 1126. Now, SB 1126 is the name of the bill. SB 1126 localities, because many casino jobs would be low skill and low wage. Now, let me just bring this down for you because I want to make sure that you see this. This is actually on the .gov website. So you're seeing it right there in blue. The projected median wage is $33,000 for casino employees, would be below the median wage in the 5 SB 1126 localities, because many casino jobs would be low skill and low wage. Now, why is it that we are wanting a low skill, low wage production brought into Danville? I'm just asking. when you really start getting down to it, why would you want that kind of thing in Danville? Well, you're not being told that's what you're getting. You're actually being told that you're getting a much higher average. Look, at the WSLS, it's the news. This is Channel 10 News, y'all. It's got to be true. It's on the news. Average wage, $35,000. And then you look on their website, and you find out that it isn't the case, that the projected median wage is $33,000. And that's below the median wage in the 5 SBC 1126 localities. Not all casino jobs would represent a net gain of employment for the localities. Nearly half of the jobs would be low skill and low wage. Is this really something that we should be excited about? Is this really, I mean, you're looking at this and this looks all great and shiny and wonderful, and yet when you start going down into the weeds, now, I don't know if you can see this all that well or not. I have gone through this with a pretty fine-tooth comb. There's a lot of information that is in here, and there are a lot of contradictions, and it basically says, too, that one of the biggest problems is going to end up being states that are around us. Now, I showed a while ago, just a minute ago, that it says that the 700 million revenue for various purposes. This is going on. I'm reading in their actual report here, and the figure for the revenue right now, gambling, is 600 million in revenue for various purposes. So this one says 600 million. This one says 700 million, and they're from the exact same website. So I'm sitting here holding one, and I'm reading it, and it says generating about 600 million in revenue for various purposes, primarily K-12 education. Nearby states permit more forms of gambling than Virginia does, including casino gambling, gaming, sports wagering, and online casino gaming. Now, the issue that we want to deal with is that about 1/3 of the total casino revenue is projected to be generated by out-of-state visitors. Out-of-state visitors would contribute especially to the viability of Danville and Bristol casinos because of their small local markets. This would also make them vulnerable if casino development were to occur in North Carolina. So basically, 1/3 of the business is going to come from North Carolina, but what's going to happen if North Carolina were to open one of these? Well, in the document, in one of the presentations, let's see if I can figure out which one of these is a PowerPoint presentation. In one of the presentations, it actually calls it the North Carolina threat. Now, I want you to, let me get out of this just a little bit so you can actually see this. North Carolina's threat. If North Carolina authorizes casino gaming, and if destination resort casinos are built in Greensboro and Raleigh, what's going to happen to the projected income? Well, gaming potential, revenue potential, could decline due to additional competition in key feeder markets. And how much would it go down? 45 to 50% for a destination scale casino. Now, I think that we're actually seeing a picture of a destination scale casino. We're talking about hotels, things of that nature, and what the idea is, you come and stay, as opposed to a more moderate casino where you just come in here of accommodations. And so if that kind of casino, this one that we're looking at, if it were to be built, so you need to tell a friend right now, and you can tell them whether or not they're on cable, it does not matter. You can tell them to get on YouTube, and what you do is you just basically look up my name, Johnny Robertson, and it's going to come up. They don't have to, I tested this on a guy. This is basically the YouTube. This is not my site. This is YouTube. And here's the search line right here. You type in Johnny Robertson. I was talking to a guy last week who's from Cleveland, Ohio. We've never met. I tell him we're talking about religion, and I tell him about the YouTube, and I said, just go to the YouTube, type in Johnny Robertson. You won't have to filter through a bunch of garbage. It's going to be the first thing came up. He did it. And the first thing came up was, what does the Bible say? And some of our videos. So if you tell a friend right now, hey, Johnny is on television and he is actually going through this documentation and he is showing that what they're putting forth is, man, it is so fragile. So if it were not one of these big casinos like we just got through seeing, what's the decline going to be if North Carolina were to get gaming casinos in Raleigh and Greensboro and wants to keep them from it? It's basically this innovation group is going around everywhere trying to get everybody to put in casinos. So the actual decline, the revenue decline, now they're projecting $200 and something million in revenue, and they get the tax off of that. And so if North Carolina were to get casinos, it would be 37 to 42% less than what they're projecting in here. Well, what is 42% of 260? Why don't we just go ahead and look at the one right above it, which says 50%, and let's just cut this thing in half. Folks, this is basically going to be 13. It'll be, instead of 26, it'll be 13. That is extremely different. That is a lot lower. So 260 million down to let's see, 100. What it would be? Half of that would be 130 million. That is nothing. When you start talking about all the stuff that's involved in all this, you just cut your projected revenue in half. That is just ridiculous. So we're looking at the Danville logo, and the logo is reimagine that. Reimagine Danville is basically what you're doing, and you're reimagining it through the lens of Caesars Entertainment. Now, what I've done is I've gone to Caesars Entertainment website, and guess what? Caesars Entertainment announces temporary shutdown, network of properties. Now, imagine that. Here's what you were getting in 2019. You were getting these projections that this casino is going to be here, is going to be on the ballot. It should be built by 2023, and you got this logo, reimagine that, and all of this hype and all of the, it's already on the ballot, so they did all of their hype last year. And so in 2019, they were just, oh man, it's going to be such a boon for Danville. And so you got this logo, reimagine Danville, reimagine that. And so we, in July the 15th, it says July the 15th right up here at the top, and they're actually working off of something they put out in March the 17th. And in March the 17th, it says Caesars Entertainment announces temporary shutdown of network of properties. So let's imagine with them. Why do you want to imagine when you have reality? Caesars is shut down. Now, I actually have a friend that has a friend in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm checking on some stats, but you need to realize Caesars Casinos, Caesars Entertainment is actually not owned by Caesars anymore. It's owned by a company called or named El Dorado. And so there are a lot of these. You may be thinking, well, we're talking about a Las Vegas style casino coming to Danville. No. Caesars is a brand name. But right now, Caesars is shut down. Let's see if we can run over here to this actual website, and let's see some of the things that are actually being said. Now, y'all, this is extremely, extremely important when you listen to how this actually goes. Now, you think about the narratives that constantly are going on. Caesars Entertainment Corporation, Caesars Entertainment, or the company, today announced that it will temporarily shut down its owned properties in North America, consistent with directives from various government bodies. It has become clear that we must take this extreme action to help contain the virus and protect the safety and well-being of our team members and guests, and said Caesars Entertainment CEO Tony, I don't know how to say his last name. Caesars is working to ensure a smooth closing process throughout its network and looks forward to welcoming back team members and guests as soon as appropriate. Caesars recognized the disruption that this property closure will have on team members and is committed to helping employees manage the impact. An update on property closures throughout the Caesars network can be found at their website. And said Caesars has a strong liquidity position with more than $2.8 billion of cash on hand. While the company believes its current cash position is more than sufficient to fund its obligations, it has also taken appropriate measures to reduce operating and capital expense as necessary. Now, you have to hear this, because this is their, about Caesars Entertainment, this is their rhetoric, this is their commercial. Caesars Entertainment is one of the world's most diversified casino entertainment providers and most geographically diverse U.S. casino entertainment company. Since its beginning in Reno, Nevada, 1937, Caesars Entertainment has grown through development of new resorts, expansions, and acquisitions. Caesars Entertainment resorts operate primarily under Caesar, Harrah's Horseback brand. Caesars Entertainment portfolio also includes the Caesar Entertainment UK family of casinos. And Caesars Entertainment is focused on building loyalty and value with guests through a unique combination of guest services, excellent products, unsurpassed distribution, optional excellent, and technological leadership. Caesars Entertainment is committed to employees, suppliers, communities, and the environment through the People Planet Pay framework. For more information, please go to their website. Now, this is what I was headed for. Now, they have to put this in here because of a particular law that was passed in 1995. It's called the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. What is this Private Securities Litigation Reform Act? Well, it is something the government put in place to keep people like Caesars from trying to convince you of something that is unrealistic. And here we go. This press release includes forward-looking statements right here. It includes forward-looking statements, and that's quite an understatement. What is a forward-looking statement? I'm making this bigger where you can actually see this in your own house, hopefully. Look at that. Forward-looking statements in quotes. What does that mean? It means that they're telling you they have $2.8 billion cash on hand. We got this. Everything's looking good. We're just shutting down here in March. We'll be right back. Just, take a pause, take a breath. This press release includes forward-looking statements intended to qualify for the safe harbor from liability established by the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. You can identify these statements by the fact that they do not relate strictly to historical or current facts, and by the use of such words as will, believes, looks forward, help, and substantially, or the negative or other variations thereof, or comparable terminology. These forward-looking statements are based on current expectations and projections about the future. Look at this. This is their own website. You are cautioned that forward-looking statements are not a guarantee of the future performance or results, and involve risk and uncertainties that cannot be predicted or quantified, and consequently the actual performance and results of the company may differ materially from those expressed or implied by such forward-looking statements. Such risk and uncertainties include, but are not limited to, future actions, new projects, strategies, future performance, the outcome of contingencies, future financial results of the company, and uncertainties related to COVID-19, and the impact of the company's response to it, and other factors described from time to time in our reports filed with the SEC, Security Exchange. So that's what we're actually talking about. These individuals have to abide by certain rules that will not let them just tell you, oh, everything's going to be good. But see, here's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with you being bombarded with all of this media that is telling you reimagine Danville, Caesars Entertainment, WSLS, playing that little catchy ditty where you are being told that this is going to happen. Not only is this going to happen, but notice this. 1,300 jobs with benefits and average wages between $35,000 and $47,000. You cannot do that. You cannot use these forward-looking statements without qualifying them. Somebody's got to come in and be like, listen, y'all, this is an ad campaign. Those 3 stacks, I know what they do to you. If you live in Danville, that's the Schofield area, and that's Dan River Mills. And they left those, everything's pretty much dilapidated there, but here's the thing. Those 3 stacks. That's nostalgia. What's the meaning of nostalgia? Coming home. That feeling when you come home. A feeling when you get somewhere where you're comfortable. People actually, they reminisce. They build up nostalgia. Coming home feeling. And so a lot of people drive through this area just to get the feeling of how it used to be when Dan River Mills was here. Now, I lived here when that was there. I moved to Virginia in 1997. I came through the first time and talked with the congregation that I worked with originally in 1996, October 1996. And one of the things that individuals in Martinsville and Henry County wanted to do is take my wife to Dan River Mills. Why? Because they were selling things like, I don't really even know what they sold. Honestly, I think they were selling linen, sheets, maybe towels. I think the subsidiary for that was in Martinsville, possibly called Cannon. And if you're a woman, you probably know all about that. Pillowcases and sheets and probably drapes and tablecloths, who knows? But I know that that's one of the first places that people in Virginia, especially the older ladies, wanted to take my wife, and she's coming out of a third world country, Marshall Islands, into Martinsville, into Pennsylvania County. Danville's the big city next door. And so they would all go to Dan River, and you'd go to the outlet. So this is nostalgia. Look what they're doing. They're actually putting this together, forward-looking. They're telling you that all of these projected things are going to happen, and y'all, this is not true. I'm saying from their own website. The people who are involved in promoting this, the Innovation Group who is doing the study for the legislative body in Virginia, the Assembly, and the governor ends up signing all this, already signed all this, they actually dispute the ad that is being put out by WSLS. Now, you know the WSLS. Channel 10 didn't just put this out. Somebody paid for this. Who is paying for this stuff? Who is actually involved in this forward-looking business in 2019? So here we are, and we're being asked to imagine that, Caesars Entertainment, and this is on the ballot. And who is going to tell you that nearly half of the jobs are low skill and low wage? Who's going to tell you the truth about the fact that these other states like Tennessee and North Carolina, just because they don't have casinos doesn't mean anything. Virginia didn't have a casino. It had 2 casinos that were run by Native Americans. And so this is a whole new project. Why would North Carolina let Virginia siphon off all this money and bring it into Virginia away from North Carolina? Why would they do that? And so North Carolina's already been fighting gaming for quite some time. We had to fight online gaming in Martinsville. We went to several city council meetings and got it pushed back. And where do you think they were putting it? Just like this one. They were putting it in a low-income area, socioeconomic woes already in the Schofield area. How do I know? We knock doors over there. We knock doors around Blue Park. We go, we go across North Main and drop off into the Schofield area, the old Schofield School. All of those areas, we knock doors on a regular basis. During our tent meetings this past June, we knocked doors down in there, and they're actually talking about replacing all that area, and they're playing you. Those smokestacks are nothing but nostalgia. They are left there. What do they have to do with the casino? Nothing. And the folk, now these folk have to tell some truth, but they don't have to tell you the truth up front. If there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 PDFs, where do you think this information is found in this lineup? Where do you think I found this? I found this in the weeds, y'all. Pages and pages and pages actually into that. This is page 20 of a 32-page PowerPoint, or a 32-slide PowerPoint. Way down in the weeds, you actually find that there is a North Carolina threat. It's a warning. All that forward-looking stuff, they can't get away with that. Now, Caesars Entertainment's own website, and we read on the website they got $2.8 billion, and we project that everything's going to be fine. But guess what? We have to tell you the truth. This SEC Act from 1995, it forbids us from doing what WSLS is doing. and whoever is paying the bills. Now, you see that we have our phone lines open. If you're in Danville and you would like to comment on this or ask a question, I have all kinds of information that is actually being presented. WSLS says there's going to be 1,300 jobs. Each casino is projected to employ at least 1,000 people. Now, that is a lot different than 1,300 jobs, and in fact, on another page in this gigantic documentation, they say, in fact, that they say 1,300 jobs, then they project 1,600 jobs in one of these pages, in one of these PDFs, and the one I'm reading from, which is actually PDF number 2, I think, report number 2. It's either report number five or report number 2. And so it's a presentation, so it is number 5. Presentation number 2 is a PowerPoint presentation, the one that tells about the threat. So which is it? Is it 1,300 jobs? Is it 1,600 jobs? Is it 1,000 jobs? Is it 33,000 average wage, or are the wages actually 35,000 to 47,000? Those are all important questions that need to be answered. Is it actually going to bring in revenue of $155 million? Or is it going to bring revenue of half that? Now, on one of the pages that I'm reading from right here, it says it would increase statewide gaming tax revenue by estimated addition of $155 million, 59%, and employ an additional 3,200 workers. A Northern Virginia casino projected to attract substantial revenue from out-of-state customers and retain in-state about $100 million that Virginia residents are currently spending at casinos in other states. So people are spending $100 million in other states. So you see what's going on here? Virginia knows that people from Virginia are spending $100 million in gaming in other states. So what do? They project that they're going to build their own casinos to bring the money back. Well, what do you think these other states are going to do? Well, you don't have to really think about it. It's right there in presentation, PDF report 527, presentation 2. So this is a PowerPoint slide that I got right off of their website. Now, let's basically have a look at this. Now, this is, in fact, the documentation that you need to know in regard to the difference between the documentation from the Innovation Group, which is a group that is working with the Virginia legislature, and this WSLS report is just absolutely unfactual. I don't know who put that out there, but I can actually read from the real website, and here it is. From their website, this is page 22, and I'm expecting that this would be report 527.5. Over half of the casino jobs projected to pay lower wages, but some would be higher skilled or wage. Now look at this. Let's get this really in our head. Average wage between $35,000 and $47,000. Now look at our actual statement inside the documentation that is put out by the Innovation Group, which is being used by the General Assembly in Virginia. Notice this. Let's look at the actual wages, the amount of wages, because it said average wage would be 35 to 47. When you get into the 47, even close to 47 wage group, look how many there are. And I'll get out of your way. How many? You see my arrow right there? How many jobs are there that pay $47,000? Well, actually, there are none. There's a $54,000 wage for accounting and other professionals, and there's 15 jobs, 15% actually, 15% of the jobs will come from accounting and other professionals. Now, you drop down to 43, we missed 47, it's not even on there. 5% of the employment will actually be 43,000. Only 5%, so let's start doing our math here. 5% will be under 47. How do you get an average when you're starting below there's no way to get up to 47. You have to have at least one $47,000 a year job when you start averaging numbers in order to get 47,000, even to be in the picture. There's not a single job that is on here that is actually in the 47,000 range. It starts in 43. So you got 5% of the jobs, technical and mechanical, that are 43,900. You have 9 that are 33,000 a year, 9%. That's security and surveillance. Now, you just dropped from 47,000 to 43,000, so that is in fact a $4,000 mistake. Well, it's 43.9, so go ahead and say 45. That's $2,000 mistake from the very get-go. Then you drop down, you're supposed to have a $35,000 in there. It's an average of $35,000 a year to $47,000 a year. There's not any $35,000 jobs in here. 9% of the jobs that are in the 30,000 range are security and surveillance, and they're not 35,000, they're actually 33,000. So you've dropped from 47, an average of 47,000, down to 33,000. Y'all, that is ridiculous. Is that not $14,000 discrepancy? 33 plus 10 is 43, then 47. This is a huge discrepancy. Who is behind this particular document right here is what I'd like to know. So let me see what this actually says. This is someone texting me about what we're talking about. He said, this particular text is a person from Danville. A bunch of those skilled jobs probably won't even be local people. No one here knows how to run a gaming table. That's exactly right. And so the gaming table individuals that represent 15% of the jobs that are in the $54,000 a year range, they are going to be coming from somewhere else. You think these people are going to be training local individuals how to work the tables, how to do all the different kind of gambling? Do you realize how many kind of card games there are that people want to actually play the dealer? There are not that many games where you go in and you play a bunch of other people like you see on television. A lot of these card games are against the dealer, the person who is at the table. You're playing against the house, and you've never even heard of these games. Baccarat, I don't really know if that's one of the games or not. I'm pretty sure that it is. Just all kinds of craziness. So here we go. The security and surveillance, 9% at 33,000. And then you drop down to 32,000. That's administrative, 1%. So you've got 5, 14, 15% of the jobs. Now remember, the average is supposed to be 35 to 47. There is no way you can run numbers to average that. And you've got 15% of the jobs starting at 43 and go down to 33 or 32. Now, let's start looking at some big percentages. The cashiers and the cage, 29,000. There's 5% of those. Food and beverage, 25.9. 31% are in the 25.9. And then housekeeping, 20,000 is at 12%. Now, let's just do a little bit of math, y'all, as far as how this is going to play out. If you're talking about 5.9, that's food and beverage, 31%, which is one of the biggest numbers on this webpage. The largest percentage of workers is 25. Let's go ahead and make it 26 so we can round it off. $26,000 a year divided by, let's do weeks. 52 equals $500 a week. Now, how in the world does WSLS, let's do the math on this. WSLS, let's go in between 35 and 47. So let's just make it 43 as a in between. $43,000 divided by 52. So that's $826 a week. That's what they're saying the average pay is going to be. That is not true. It is absolutely false. Because the biggest percentage on the website that has the facts, they cannot lie here. They can put the information in the weeds, so it's hard for you to find, but that is just absolutely a false statement by WSLS. So now, whether or not WSLS wants to retract that, we will be asking them that. Or you don't think we talk to WSLS? I have a card in my pocket right now where a reporter says if I accomplish a certain thing, he will actually do a show with me, or he'll put me on camera on WSLS. And I've already done what he said. I just don't want to involve myself in what he said we talked about. These individuals are not far off from us. We have been on their news before. The different events that transpire throughout Roanoke and Lynchburg in our area, it's not like we don't get on local news. So wonder why they would put out a statement like that, and wonder who is actually putting that out. Now, so you drop down to housekeeping, and you're down to 20,000. Let's just see, did I already do 20,000? 20,000 divided by 52, that is just, that's going to be, I'm just going to do monthly. 20,000 divided by 12 equals a month, $1,666 a month. How in the world did they get away with putting an average of $826 a month? The average wage is going to be $800. You might as well say, just let's round it off to $800. When in fact, the average is going to be way less than that. That's just barely $420 or $50, not a week. And they're saying 800, double. Who put that information out there? I don't know, but I do know that the casino itself, the legislative body of Virginia Commonwealth, has to put out the real figures. Those are the real figures in the documentation that is put together by the Innovation Group. So they have to tell you, over half of casino jobs projected to pay lower wages. So half, let's get lower wages being 32,000. We'll start at 32,000. Let's start at 33, 9, 10, 15, and then you're at 46% plus 12, 56, 58. 58% of the jobs are actually low income or below what is median wage. So, man, I cannot believe that whoever is behind this, who is behind this, y'all? I mean, what do we get to say? I'm going to just take a little break here, a little venture. Now, I don't want you to get upset with me because what I'm about to do, because this is how media goes when you start saying poking around, okay? And it suits me real well in the sense of poking around, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to head somewhere. I wonder, did you actually did you know about and I'm just going to say Miss Harris because I have a hard time pronouncing her name. Do you remember the Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh trying to be put to the Supreme Court? Now, don't anybody get all raised up and like raising your eyebrows and giving me a smirk. These justices don't mean anything to me. I do not believe that putting these judges in there, the Supreme judges, are going to change anything in America. They have already had their chances. You've had Republican after Republican try to tell us that they're going to change things in America, and they have not done anything. The last person that I can remember doing anything was Ronald Reagan, and he hired Judith Reisman to be his Juvenile Justice Department head. I did an interview with her. She was putting the heat on Hustler magazine, Playboy magazine, I can't remember what the other magazine is. She was putting the heat on them, and the heat actually got into the D.C. area, and she started finding out that there were individuals in the government that were pedophiles, and she prosecuted one of them. I believe it was Hustler. She prosecuted one of the artists in Hustler and put him in jail. and she ended up being fired. Now, I don't think Ronald Reagan fired her necessarily, so don't be thinking that this is a political statement here. I'm just reminding you of who Ms. Harris is, and I'm going to make a point here.
Judge, have you ever discussed Special Counsel Mueller or his investigation with anyone?
Well, it's in the news every day.
Have you discussed it with anyone?
With other judges, I know.
Have you discussed Mueller or his investigation with anyone at Kasowitz, Benson, and Torres, the law firm founded by Mark Kasowitz, President Trump's personal lawyer? Be sure about your answer, sir.
Well, I'm not remembering, but if you have something you want to...
Now, that was a ploy right there. Be sure about your answer. I don't know what he's up to. I don't care. I'm saying I don't have a dog in this fight because these guys are not going to do anything for the nation. It's supposedly stacking the court and they're going to reverse Roe versus Wade. Not going to happen. I do not believe it, not one little bit. But this is an introduction to Joe Biden's vice president. This is Ms. Harris. And so this gives you a chance to see what happened later. And this is the San Francisco Chronicle, and I hope it's going to let me scroll down here and tell you what happened with that investigation. That video went viral, and it really didn't have anything to do with it, anything. She was just trying a tactic. It was asked Ms. Harris if she really had some reliable information, and she said it wasn't a trick question. Harris spokeswoman Lily Adams said his answer Wednesday night was entirely unclear, and it raised concerns to many people about whether this had happened. Adams said Harris does not plan on doing anything more with the information she had received. So, from her source. So she just had some information, but it really didn't pan out to anything. It made for good TV. There was nothing that was going to be done. This article actually says the viral grilling of Kavanaugh ends with a thud. It was one of those moments where she got to have her 9 minutes of fame, and now she's basically the vice president pick. And you got all this rhetoric going on. So here's my point. She said, you need to answer very carefully now. Why did I do that? Because I'm asking who's behind this. And I'm saying it's okay for me to question who's behind this and to speculate. Summary and conclusions. Casinos generally not a strain on public service. What? This is one of the reports. It's a page 31 of 32 of the PowerPoint presentation. And the summary and conclusion is, this is for you Danville folks who are worried about crime and things like that. Casinos generally not a strain on public safety service. Calls, how many calls do you get about public safety when you have a casino in town? 1 call per day to 1 call per week. Seriously, are you talking to children? Primarily, it's EMS, emergency services. Why? Some elderly person wins the one-armed bandit, gets all the chips or all of the coins and has a conniption fit. What are we talking about here? Somebody have a stroke up in there because they stayed in there so long? Then the next call, generally it's EMS, emergency services, and then that's followed by a drunk and disorderly, 1 a week. Are you kidding me? Have you ever been anywhere? I'm saying go somewhere and actually see a casino or get online and see a casino. I'm not telling you go to a casino, go where a casino is, see the hotels. I passed by a casino in Oklahoma that's run by the American Indians, and I stop and get gas. We're coming from Oklahoma City. We stop and get gas. Right across the street is the big casino, and we actually see somebody stealing stuff out of another person's vehicle while they're inside paying. So the person is rummaging through the pickup. We don't know it's not their pickup. They're rummaging through the pickup. Lady puts on a coat because it's cold, and she goes towards the store, and another lady comes out of the store, and she's got, "You've got my jacket on." And they just start having a scuffle, and they run to the truck, and this person has actually rifled through their stuff. Why? Because they just lost all their money at the casino. This is out in the middle of nowhere. We're talking about Schofield now, up in Danville, across from my dentist's office, man, I'm thinking about locking up my car and never leave my cell phone, maybe take the front of my radio off when I go into my dentist from now on, if this actually happens. Then it says felony issues virtually non-existent, no jail impacts. Casinos generally contract for extra security. Wait a minute. If you aren't having any trouble, why do you generally contract for extra casino security? I mean, that makes no sense. You just contradicted yourself right there. Casinos generally contract for extra security during events. So, well, let's see what the security is. Security and surveillance is 9% of the actual workforce. Well, why do you need so much security? Almost 10% of your workforce is security, but you're only going to have one drunken disorderly a week. So what in the world? Most of the cities do not have established MOUs with their casinos. Some casinos operators purchase equipment for fire and EMS. So this is recent scholarly research is what this says. So I'm looking really myself, I'm seeing smoke and mirrors here. And I'm just wondering who's in the mirror and where this smoke is coming from. Now, you know, that's a play on your stacks there. Where is all of this coming from? Well, can I posture a little bit? I'm just actually wondering. You think about this very carefully. Is any of this got to do with folk from Bible Way Cathedral, given the mayor is a trustee at Bible Way Cathedral, and Lawrence Campbell's son, Larry, is on the city council, and, you know, it's like, is there any involvement here? Look at this picture that Lawrence Campbell puts up on his website. Above the clouds? What in the world? Is he an angel? Is he Jesus? Well, his website calls him, people call him Apostle Campbell, and I actually, if you want to give me an amen right quick, this is how they're amening over at Bible Way Cathedral. Take a listen to this. That's Lawrence Campbell in his Bentley as he pulls up, and when Philip starts preaching, the way that you get an amen these days is you get a honk. And so I'm actually wondering, is there some smoke and mirrors going on there? Can you actually see that little image that we have up there coming out of the smokestack? Who is involved in this? Who is actually the individual that's going to benefit? Well, I know who's trying to pass this. Caleb and different ones have been to their meetings, city council meetings in 2019, have footage where he talked to Larry Campbell. This is the mayor here, in case you're not from around here, Lonzo Jones. He is a trustee at Bible Way, and Larry Campbell, Lawrence Campbell Jr. is way down here. That's him right there. And you have to ask yourself, who is, I just simply want to know, who put up this article? Who paid for it? Where's the money coming from for this ad campaign? And why are the facts being misrepresented? Now, folks, you might say, Johnny, this is supposed to be what does the Bible say? I get that. So who's going to tell you what's going on so that they can actually then tell you what the scriptures say about what's going on? Well, first, you have to have information that tells you what is going on. Now, that's my cell phone number, 276-806-2150. That's my email, joeblue81@gmail.com. I will send you the websites for all of these PDFs so that you can look at them. All you have to do is send me a text asking for the website, the actual URL for the website. I'll send that to you, and you can start reading up because, listen, y'all, November is not a long way out. Always ask for what does the Bible say so that you can be informed. God bless.
I'm Christian Norris. I'm a funeral director here at Norris Funeral Services, and I'm the oldest son of David and Michelle Norris.
My name is Harrison Norris, and I'm the youngest child of David and